The day after I retired, I woke up at 6:15 in the morning out of pure habit. Made coffee, sat down, and then just sat there. No emails, no meetings, no one needing anything from me. The house was completely quiet, and for about 3 minutes it felt incredible. And then something else crept in. Something I was not expecting and absolutely was not prepared for. It was this hollow, uncomfortable feeling that I could not name at first, like a question hanging in the air that I did not know how to answer. The question was, now what? And underneath that question was something even harder to sit with. Without the work, without the title, without the schedule and the responsibilities and the people who needed me to show up every single day, who exactly was I? I spent over 30 years being somebody at work, somebody people called, somebody people depended on. And on day 2 of retirement, I was not entirely sure I knew how to be somebody anywhere else. If that feeling sounds familiar to you right now, I need you to hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not ungrateful for the retirement you worked your whole life for. You are human. And what you are feeling has a name, it has data behind it, and there is a real path through it. According to a 2025 retirement regret study, 20.5% of retirees said they were simply not prepared for the emotional shift that followed leaving work, not the financial shift. The emotional one. One person in that study said something that has stayed with me since the moment I read it. They said, if I could go back, I would find my sense of purpose outside of my work identity. That one sentence says everything about what most of us get wrong. We spend our working lives completely fused with what we do for a paycheck. Our job becomes our answer to the most basic human question of who we are. And retirement does not just end a career. It pulls out the foundation that a huge part of our identity has been sitting on for decades. That collapse is real. It is documented. It affects millions of people every single year. And it is one of the most under-talked parts of the entire retirement conversation. Drop a comment right now and tell me honestly, did anyone warn you about this part? Did any financial advisor, any retirement seminar, any book you read ever prepare you for the morning when you wake up with nowhere to be and suddenly wonder what you are actually worth outside of a job title? For most people watching this, the answer is no. And that silence is exactly why this video exists. Here is why this matters far beyond just feelings. According to the Health Resources and Services Administration, 43% of seniors feel lonely on a regular basis. And that loneliness is not just emotionally painful, it carries a 45% increased risk of mortality. Researchers have compared the physical impact of chronic loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. 15 cigarettes. The loss of workplace connection, daily routine, a sense of purpose, and the feeling of being needed does not just make retirement less enjoyable. It can genuinely take years off your life. This is not a soft topic. This is a serious health issue dressed up as an emotional one, and it deserves to be treated with the same urgency as any other retirement risk. And here is the specific thing that makes it worse for people who are deeply committed to their careers. The more you built your identity around your work, the harder you worked. The more responsibility you carried, the more your daily sense of value came from your professional role. The harder the fall tends to be. People who spent 30 years being the person everyone came to for answers, for decisions, for direction, for expertise, those people do not just lose a job when they retire. They lose the daily confirmation that they matter, that they are needed, that the world is a little better because they showed up today, and nobody tells you that is coming. Nobody hands you a roadmap for rebuilding that sense of mattering in a completely different context. Subscribe to Wise Dude right now if this is already connecting with something real in your life. We are not just about the money side of this chapter. We talk about the whole experience, the parts that financial planning conversations leave completely untouched. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. So let's talk about what actually helps. Not the generic advice that tells you to take up gardening and call it purpose. Real things, specific things that are working for real people right now. The first one is mentoring, and I think it is the single most powerful tool available to retired people who are struggling to feel useful. You have something that no course, no degree, and no amount of money can provide for someone younger: lived experience. Real knowledge earned through real years of navigating real situations. There are young people right now in your former field, in your community, in your own extended family, who are facing situations you already faced and resolved 15 or 20 years ago. They are making mistakes you already made and learned from. The hard-won wisdom sitting inside your head right now is genuinely valuable in ways you have probably stopped noticing because you have had it so long. Organizations like SCORE, a non-profit that pairs experienced business professionals with entrepreneurs and small business owners, are specifically built around this idea. And the mentoring relationship does something for the mentor that almost nothing else replicates. It puts you back in the position of being needed, of being the person someone turns to because they trust and respect what you know. That experience of being genuinely needed is not optional for human well-being. It is a fundamental requirement. And retirement tends to eliminate it completely unless you rebuild it on purpose. The second thing that genuinely helps is structured volunteering. And the word structured matters here because there is a meaningful difference between helping occasionally and building something with regularity and real responsibility. AmeriCorps Seniors, formerly known as Senior Corps, connects Americans 55 and older with volunteer roles that come with actual schedules, real accountability, and measurable impact. The Foster Grandparent Program, the Senior Companion Program, the RSVP program, these are not weekend feel-good activities. They create the same structure, the same accountability, the same sense of daily contribution that work used to provide without the politics and the stress. Research consistently shows that seniors who volunteer regularly report significantly higher life satisfaction, lower rates of depression, and better physical health outcomes than those who do not. The routine matters as much as the act of giving. Having somewhere to be on Tuesday morning because people are genuinely counting on you to be there is worth more than most people understand until they no longer have it. Like this video right now, if this is speaking to something you have been carrying quietly, I want this content to reach every person who is going through this and has never once heard it talked about this honestly. Hit that like button and help someone else find this. The third thing is real committed structured learning, not passive scrolling, not casual watching, actually enrolling in something that challenges your brain on a regular schedule, learning a language, starting an instrument, taking a woodworking class, studying something you always wanted to understand but never had time for. When you are actively learning something genuinely difficult, you prove to yourself every single day that your mind still works, that you are still capable of growth, that you are not finished becoming. Many community colleges across the United States offer free or heavily discounted enrollment for adults over 60. Major universities offer low or no-cost online courses that take 5 minutes to sign up for. The barrier is not access. The barrier is deciding that you are still worth investing in. You are completely and without question. The fourth thing is intentionally rebuilding your social world, because work did something for most of us that we never fully appreciated while it was happening. It gave us a complete built-in social life. Colleagues, daily conversation, shared meals, people who knew our name and noticed when we were not around. Retirement removes that entire scaffolding in a single day. And unlike financial retirement planning, nobody tells you to prepare for this. A faith community, running a walking group, a weekly card game or chess club, a neighborhood association, a photography class with regulars. Whatever the specific form, what matters is consistency, seeing the same people repeatedly, building shared history over time, becoming someone whose absence is actually noticed. That noticeability is a quiet but profound form of mattering. And mattering is what most retired people are really reaching for when they say they feel useless. Share this video with someone who has recently retired or is getting close to it and has never heard anyone talk honestly about this side of the transition. Financial preparation without emotional preparation is only half the work. And the half that most people completely skip is the one that ultimately determines whether retirement actually feels like the reward it was supposed to be. The fifth and most important thing I want to leave you with is this. Your value was never actually located in your job title. It just lived there for a long time because that happened to be the most convenient address. Your patience, your perspective, your ability to stay steady in difficult moments because you have been through enough of them to know they end. Your understanding of how people actually work in the real world as opposed to how they are supposed to work on paper. Your capacity for loyalty and showing up and making people feel less alone just by being present. None of that retired when you did. Not one bit of it. It is all still right here. It just needs somewhere new to live. And finding that somewhere, that new context where who you are and what you carry actually lands, is not a crisis to survive. It is the most interesting and most personal project you have ever taken on, because for the first time in maybe 30 years, it belongs entirely to you.